and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brood War OST as we have returned. We have returned here with the semi-finals of the KungFu Cup StarCraft Evolution Edition. Again, so far, really fast games, really fast matches. I'm hoping to sink our teeth into a back and forth and some mid-game between our players, but we'll see if that's the case. If you remember, the last time we casted KungFu Cup a couple of days ago, the only proper mid-game that we had was actually Brood War versus Brood War and SC2 versus SC2. Like, those were the... Once we got into, like, the quote-unquote mirror matchups of the same kind of iterations of the game facing off against each other, we actually got some mid-game, we got some late game even. Like the highlight for me was still Spirit versus Classic on Amygdala. If you missed it, that was amazing. I loved it so much. It was Brood War Terran versus Brood War Protoss. But we'll see what transpires here as we jump into our fresh semifinals. It's going to be a best of 3 between Dark and Gerald. As a reminder, once again, Dark has been playing random, so actually I should fix that. Yeah, there we go. Dark has been playing random, and I believe that trend will continue as we get into the semis. Game 1 is going to be on Return of the King. Oh boy. And we'll see what race Dark lands on. Does we have the answer? We have the answer. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Return of the King, we have the Brood War Terran player. Remember, random did roll on Terran from South Korea. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Streamer Zone. It is Gerald. Gerald, of course, rocking SC2 Protoss, and we have cross spawns on Return of the King. Let's go. Let us go. For those that are curious, this is a 4-player spawn map. You can spawn in top right, top left, bottom left, and bottom right locations, so they don't know where each other are. On top of that, Gerald doesn't even know what race he's up against. Gerald has no idea, so it's on Gerald to scout, and he does send his probe across the map. Ooh, and he will check the horizontal spawn. He will find Dark immediately. So nicely done here by Gerald. Nicely done. When it comes to the map itself, very unique map. There is the island base, bottom left. Each corner has an island base that all the players can take, of course. We have the natural, but after that, things get weird. The third base that isn't the island, or even the fourth base locations, are very isolated, very exposed. We have seen, if you recall in the Spirit Classic series, we've seen players struggle to maintain these bases as they are so spread out. We even saw it actually in the Classic versus before Spirit. He faced up against another Terran player. Another player, sorry, it was a TVT. That's it, TVT between Spirit and Bratok, I want to say. Yeah, Spirit and Bratok, where we also saw Bratok struggle to defend as these bases are so far apart. Likewise, you have this massive cliff face that does cover the main route to the expansion as well, so you can just cut your opponent off from their own base. This is just a really brutal position to defend, being the defending player specifically. Meanwhile, Gerald does scout. Gerald, he scouts, he confirms, he gets eyes on Dark, is now aware of the Terran player. Meanwhile, Dark pulling up Yan, going through Rexstim. I mean, again, this is just a very trendy, it's just very trendy. It's just a very popular build here. So 3 Rexstim out of Dark. This is the same build we saw at Björn in game 1 in his series. And we'll see if Gerald can hold. We'll see if he can hold, we'll see if he can defend. As the probe does go further in, the probe does confirm the 3 axes, the probe confirms the academy. Geralt is fully aware of what's going on. The advantage for Dark, again, close spawns. We have close spawns here on Return of the King. So that's going to benefit Dark even further, as Dark, he does not yet fully find his opponents, but is on the hunt with that SCV. Probe is being hunted down. Back at home, what is the response? Robo Opener. Now, we have seen Robo Openers into Colossus shut Björn down. Specifically, I'm referring to Björn versus, was it DeWalt? No, it was Björn versus, oh god, it was a CIS Protoss player. Zardiant, it wasn't Zardiant. Was it Zardiant? No shot. But it was during the SCL King of the Hill. It was during King of the Hill. Oh god, all the Protosses, they blend together. Hold on. So far we do get 2 SCV kills. Dark is building up his bio, so I'm just quickly looking it up. It was, no, yeah, it was Zardian. That's it. So Zardian, he shut Beyond down on Vermeer. That was the map. With a robo opener into Colossus. So Zardian, he had a good response to this. We'll see if Gerald can get there. As the robo is done, yep, the bait is on the way for the Colossus, but Dark, he may hit before the Colossus comes out. Again, this may hit sooner. There we go. Stim is already complete. First Stalker falls. Gerald's in a bit of trouble here. Again, the bait just began. Shield batteries being thrown down. Marines already here. And the gateway falls. That's a kill, not a cancel. Shield batteries are completing. The bio army does stim in. Voids are being pulled. And so far, Gerald, he's holding. Does hold the line. Again, he's buying time for the Colossus. Meanwhile, Dark is still rallying across the map, still massing out more Marines. Throws down 2 more Raxes. Oh my god, turning this into a 5 Rax. The Raxes, they don't stop. They don't end. They don't end. All these Protosses look the same to me. Hey, we got there in the end. It was Zardian. For some reason in my brain, like when I think of Zardian, I think of a Terran player. That's why I was second guessing myself. Yeah. Protoss. Dark moving in. We do have some force fields and Geo charge here on the sentry. So far, Gerald, he holds the line. Shield Body is putting in a lot of work. One Shield Body runs out of energy. There's one left. Does focus on one of the medics. Nice force fields looking Dark in. Ooh, does partially look him in. Never mind. Some of the Marines, they squeeze out. But Gerald, he's holding. He's holding, and you know what? The Colossus has arrived. Gerald, he has held. He should be able to force this back with the help of that Colossus, as it's still just about to pop out. And there we go. Now it has arrived, and with that, Gerald, he does hold. He does hold. There's no breaking Gerald. Mass Marine will not touch that Colossus. And Dark is forced into a longer game. Behind this, factories now being thrown down. These are late factories for Dark. Gerald, he's counterattacking. He's not slowing down. He's trying to punish these medics. Dark getting the hell out of here. And Gerald, he was watching King of the Hill. He was this I'm less certain of, but Gerald, he's expanding towards his opponent. We have Gerald, he's right next to the Natural of Dark. They're right next to each other. They're touching tips, assuming that Gerald does take this expansion. As Dark is trying to get into his own tank support. CC is on the way. And the best way to protect his base would be to expand with his army, as he's up to 2, soon to be 3 Colossus. Didn't know they had a Lord of the Ring map. Super dope. I don't know what this is referencing. As in, like, the map is called Return of the King. I don't think I see any Lord of the Rings references on the map itself, though, unfortunately. Like, unfortunately. Here we go. Still massing up. Dark, he does bypass the main army. He does scout the Colossus. And Dark coming in from behind. Now, this tells me there's almost nothing to defend. Back at home, there's 2 tanks. Siege mode is now finishing up. Dark moving in. It's a brutal port, so there's not much I could have done aside from the name. I think aesthetically, you can have like a medieval setting, like for sure. I think an attempt can be made. I mean, I don't know if maybe that wouldn't be possible considering the tile set that they had to work with. To be fair, I'm less familiar with the tile sets available to Brood map makers. But I appreciate the name reference nonetheless. I appreciate it. Now, you know what would be a deep cut actually is this a reference to the books? And what I mean by that is, when did there's a chance, is there a chance? Would this map have come out before the movie came out? Well, the movie came out like in 2003. How old is this map? That's what I'm curious by. Because it would be cool if this was like a reference to Lord of the Rings before Lord of the Rings became like more mainstream. Regardless, we are setting up. We have Gerald going for the pylon block. Dark, his Rumba has yet to really commit. This is Casper era, so like 2008. Okay. 2008, 2009. Fair enough. Fair enough. Gerald is moving in. Oh my god, it looks too much. You're like, the map makes sense. Okay, it can't be an old map. True. I mean, I say it makes sense, but I mean, I'm still just aghast at this thing. I just... The cliff face just covering the entire reinforcing path to the third is crazy, and we never see anything like this in modern StarCraft. Even in modern Brood War, I don't think. Insane. But Gerald, he does rotates, containing Dark on 2 bases. Dark, he's getting to his own mech transition. Again, we're done with bio. It's all about vultures, tanks, but it's a bit of a late transition, of course, from Dark. As he's stumbling his way into this, you see Gerald taking a 4th base. Look up Deja Vu. Current map pool in ASL after this game. Oh no. Oh no. I'm afraid to look. This is where, like, mate, map makers in Brood War, they're still animals, papi. They're still animals. Ah. I see. I'll try to remember to look it up. Meanwhile, the Pyro army does get spotted, does get shut down. Gerald takes over the map, forces back the vultures. And the question becomes, when does Gerald try to dive in? Well, for now, he's maxing out. We're getting to Disruptors, getting to more Robotech, second Robo, eventually into Mass Disruptor, potentially into Sky Toss. That would be the ideal late game here for Gerald. As for now, he maintains map control. We have pylons thrown down and scattered across the map, observers, DTs, gateways as well. There's no way Dark can move out without being spotted. Gerald, he's in control. He's in control of this game. And it's not going to be impossible for Dark to recover, but he needs a lot to go his way here. When it comes to some of these big engagements, he has to, like, ideally bait Gerald into a fight into these siege lines. He's hoping that Gerald does overextend. As Gerald, he sees the CC. Yeah, he sees the base. And again, Gerald's win condition is to contain, to make sure that Dark is stuck on 2 bases for as long as possible. Now, Dark does have a third, true, technically. So I should say contain him on 4 bases, sorry, contain him on 3 bases and deny the 4th. But this island base is saving Dark, is what I will say. It's keeping in this. Oh, Vultures, they get caught out. It's a massive catch. Vultures, they speed away. They break out. They force Gerald back home. They force him back. Spider-Man's being thrown down, a bit of a panic. Vultures, they do make their way into the mineral line. They get a couple of probe kills. More Spider-Mines. Oh! But the last Vultures, yeah, they get caught out. Massive catch. And Gerald shuts down the Vultures. He defends. In the midst of all this, Dark trying to establish that 4th base. He has a little bit of breathing room. But Gerald is coming back. He's racing back. Dark is yet to expand. There we go. There's the CC. But the problem here again, like, what's Dark gonna do? Like, set up siege lines on the low ground and fight up a ramp? Like this is what I mean. Like, this is crazy. Like, there's so much working against the defending player here. What Dark's, he's gonna have defensive mischance. Like, like there's gonna be an attacker's advantage here at the third. It's insane. I guess Dark has his siege line, I suppose, but I mean, it won't save the command center. Oh my god. Speaking of, Gerald has to calm down, has to back off. And yeah, so far here on Return of the King, we've seen many a player struggle to take the space. I say struggle, I mean Gerald isn't struggling, but I should emphasize whoever has map control has a big advantage here on Return of the King. Has a massive advantage. And Gerald does have that map control. And again, unless Gerald gets dragged within range of all these tanks, and now it's kind of being dragged in, gets an Archon. I would say that now would be the time for Gerald to throw down some Stargates. Like, I'd love to see some Stargates, a Fleet Beacon, get ready for Tempest, just because this army is getting quite large. There's a recall back home. Dark, he does create an opening. That recall. Dark, he's getting his base. And again, where's that Sky Toss? Still no transition. Oh! Yeah, Gerald, he moves in. He will lose all these Stalkers. Gets one of those tanks, only one. Yeah, that recall did create an opening, and now Dark, he takes over his fourth base. Dark expands. Let's go. He expands. He's catching up. That's a lot of tanks. Gerald's looking for another way in. And again, Gerald, he's max. He has a bank. He's got 2k, 2k. Takes down the minefield. Oh. Gerald, he does take down a couple of tanks on the low ground. Zelce force friendly fire. Gerald forcing his way in. It's not going to be pretty, but he does get us all with the tanks. There we go. 5, 6, 7 tanks going down. Massive pickoffs. Busting into the natural. And it wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty, but Gerald, he does break through. And with that, the mineral line goes down. The natural is going to fall. And he does preserve his Colossus at least. I spoke too soon. Oof. God, that tank putting in a lot of work. Jesus. That one tank kills 2 Immortals, and now it's going to get a Colossus. Oh my god. Does pull away in time. Gerald forcing his way into the main. Getting on top of the production. Never goes off. Ooh, does connect with the tanks. And again, like, this is not really the most efficient trade here from Gerald, as he will lose even more Colossus. But he can afford it. That's true, right? Gerald, he's got a massive bank. He can afford these losses. He can afford these trades. Is Gerald still on 1 Robo? No shot. 1 Robo. This might kill him. Like, Gerald, his production, I mean, we were talking earlier about the lack of Stargates, but even the lack of additional Robos. What I mean by that is that Gerald, he can make 1 Immortal at a time. Like, he cannot remax. Despite his bank, he can't spend his money. No. So, Gerald, he's tunnel visioning a little bit here. It is concerning. Going into mass DT, gets scanned. Dark still on a 3 base economy. I say that, really on a 2 base economy at this point. And I'm hoping for either additional Robos or said Stargates. Right now, Gerald, he is down in army supply. Gerald being forced back. Dark, he breaks out. Again, that's a lot of tanks. That's how many? That's 20 tanks. So he's moving in. How many gateways is Gerald on? He's on 10. Likewise, I feel like the gate count is also very low. Only 10 gateways. So the lack of production is really, it's less Dark killing Gerald and it's more Gerald's production killing Gerald. It's really slowing him down. I'll say combination of the two. Dark is moving in. DTs, they come in from behind. Ooh, they shut down around 4 tanks. They force some friendly fire. Tank boys going off, the Colossus going down. And Dark, no shot. Is he gonna pull this off? Dark, he's breaking through. Gerald, he still can't spend his money. Aye. He can't spend his money. The mineral line goes down. And Dark, he breaks out. He takes down the expansion. There we go. Finally, a second Robo's on the way. It took so long. And it may not come into play, actually, as Dark is pushing in. He's going for the main base here of Gerald. Again, we're still in the low gate count as well. Low gate count. Still only on 10. Dark moving in. And Dark, he may be able to take this. He's making his way into the main. Ooh, there it goes off. Nice Nova. There it goes off. See someone in the chat. Vultures don't shoot up, right? Just Spider-Mans? No, neither one. Goliaths shoot up, though. The Goliaths. The mini Thors, if you will. Goliaths shoot up. As you can see here, they're shooting up the Colossus. As technically Colossus is in the air. At least it's upper half. well, the tanks, they do make their way through. Gateways are going down. The Robo is exposed. We can't afford to lose these gateways. Dark moving in. Now there is a mischance here for Dark, but despite that, there were just so many tank volleys, so many tank shots. Dark forcing his way into the natural. DTs, they dribbling on top of the tanks though. Oh my god. Where's the scan? And even with the scan, the friendly fire is insane. And not a bad move here from Gerald. He will lose the DTs, but again, not a bad trade. He's trying to hold on, but that's all he had. That's all he had left. He's just forcing his way through that initial defensive line. Never goes off. Oh! And Dark, he will overwhelm. As we have more DTs waddling in. I mean, again, like they're doing an okay job here, but alas. Dark, he's not stopping, still reinforcing with more tanks. Getting within range of the bay. Justine's vision. Justine's vision. There we go. Cybercore going to be going down as well. Science vessels on the way to help deal with these Dark Templar. They have been an issue. And down goes the bay. No more disruptors. What you see is what you get. There's still one more disruptor on the way here, top left. We have a gateway explosion finally as well. Yeah, Darky breaks through. GG gets called. No shot. Darky overwhelms. And despite the contain, Darky breaks on through. He will take game number 1. Whew, GG. Gerald, he was in such a good position this game, but again, his production was hurting him. It did look like he was tunnel visioning a little bit too much, and it looked like Gerald was maybe overconfident. What I'm referring to is that Gerald, he was maxed out. Remember, he was maxed out, 200 supply. He was containing his opponent on 3 bases, but Gerald, despite being maxed out, despite banking up those resources, he didn't really do anything with that, whether it's teching up or whether it's setting up his production for when he will lose his army. And eventually he did. Eventually Gerald, he forced his way into the natural, and he did do a lot of damage, but that was the army that he never replaced. He never was able to replace it. He didn't have the gateway count. He was stuck only on 10 gates. It was stuck on 1 robo as well, so he just could not rebuild. Even towards the end of that game, he had minerals and gas in the bank. He just couldn't spend that money. Couldn't spend it. GG, well played. With that, Dark takes game number 1. Here we go. And now we're jumping into game number 2. Oh, it's the baby leagues. Oh no. As I should have some time to cover a replay after this broadcast for sure. Oh no. What am I gonna stumble into? Aye. As Dark takes the lead, now we're jumping into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on Frostline. The arm will lose to 4 Void Rays. If you're watching the quarterfinals, that happened. Dark played Protoss, Dark played Protoss against Brathok, and Dark did go Oracle Void Ray against Mech, and he was able to overwhelm the Mech army. Did happen earlier in the broadcast, but here we go. We're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have the Brood War Protoss player, the Polish Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is Gerald. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the random South Korean player, random, and he does land on SC2 Protoss. We have a PvP. It is Dark. Don't forget to wash your butt. Oh no, it's already washed. It's already clean. It's fine. It's fine. Protoss never loses. Dark did win his Protoss, is what I was getting at. Dark did win his Protoss in his match, I should say. But now we have our PvP. And we haven't seen Dark in this matchup, I don't think, before. We have seen Dark in regular PvPs, in SC2 versus SC2, that is true. We have seen that, but I don't think I've seen Dark's Protoss against Brood War Protoss. So this is going to be a bit of a different dynamic. We'll see how Dark does compare. We shall see. So I'm just catching up with the chat. Have we had any 2v2 Evo games? We have. Unfortunately, we haven't. I say we have. The community has. 2v2 tournaments do exist in StarCraft Evolution, but we haven't, as in the CranKy Ducklings, haven't casted them. I am very tempted, though. I'm very tempted, but there are a lot of regular StarCraft Evolution 2v2 tournaments that are going on, but they're mainly focused in the CIS region. I believe 3D Clan and Brathok, they host regular 2v2 tournaments with StarCraft Evolution. Sorry, just catching up with the chat. Don't have official Team SEL yet because we don't have team match for Evo. Yeah, I guess there's no StarCraft Evolution League 2v2 events, but there's plenty of StarCraft Evolution 2v2 tournaments. I should emphasize that. I'm very tempted to reach out and try to get some replay casting of them, but they do exist. They do exist. Typically, check out like Middle VK or Brathok. They're usually covering those events on their respective channels. As for that, we have our initial openers. It is going to be a Stargate, so 2-gate opener into a Stargate out of Dark before expanding. Meanwhile, Gerald's across the map going for the faster Nexus. So we have a Nexus or a faster Nexus here from our red Protoss. We have faster tech from our blue Protoss instead. Adept stay threat in the shade, but so far, Gerald, he keeps up. Does keep up. Does catch out the Adepts. Mining time is denied. Oh. So far, 2 probes go down. You know, Oracle's on the way for Dark. No major damage yet. As the Oracle's on the way. Gerald, he did scout the main, but he did not see the tech. He did not see the Stargate. So Gerald is in the dark. He doesn't know what's going on. Dark making his way into the main. And the mineral line is exposed. And this is one of the big weaknesses here of Brutal Protoss is their immobility. Thankfully, there is one, soon to be 2 Dragoons in the main base, so Gerald, he's in position and he should defend. He'll lose 2 probes, but not much more than that. Yep, does his own away. Gerald's moving in, knocking down that front door. Dark trying to keep up. No safety shield battery. Uh-oh. Yeah, no shield battery. Gerald, he's breaking through. Takes down the pylon. Can push further into the main. And Dark is in a bit of trouble here. Getting into the Stalkers. Gerald not paying attention. Yeah, Gerald, he doesn't kite back. 1 Dragoon goes down. He will lose 1. He will lose another. Yeah, 2nd Dragoon falls, trading 1 for 1. Oh, takes out the Oracle though. Another worse trade towards the end. Dark, he wants it. Oh, does get the Dragoon. 3 for 3. And plus the Oracle. As Dark, he does hold. Again, just a much later expansion. Getting into his Stalkers, and Gerald just has a very comfortable lead. Like, the reality here is that Gerald, because of the faster expansion, he has a greater economy, and this Stargate opener out of Dark hasn't made up for that. It's not made up for it, not yet. Ooh. As Gerald, he's just rallying across the map, looking to overwhelm. Again, the pylon went down earlier, still no shield battery. And I don't see Dark defending against this. Yeah, Gerald, GG gets called. Gerald, he will not be stopped, and Gerald will tab the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew, let's go. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match here. Again, Gerald was able to overwhelm. Gerald, he defended very well against that Oracle. The Oracle got only 2 probe kills, was not worth it. Likewise, Dark, he was kind of like fumbling to defend early on. No shield batteries, no defensive setup on the low ground. Late expansion. GG. GG, well played. We have it back and forth. We're going to the ace match. Game 3 is going to be on Amygdala. And the question becomes, what does Dark land on this time? We've been casting quite an amount of Dark here tonight. We have seen 0 Zerg out of him yet. I mean, it's all RNG. It's all RNG. As he is going to be committing. And we're getting into the ace match. Oh. And for the first time, he will land on Zerg. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have our Polish Protoss player, the SC2 Protoss. It is Gerald, the streamer zone. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the red Zerg player for the first time this broadcast, actually landing on Brood War Zerg from South Korea. It is Dark. Here we go. Because we are settling in and we're calming things down. You have Gerald sitting up here on the low ground, Dark likewise taking his hatchery, going hatch first. Now when it comes to Dark's Brood War Zerg, we have seen a lot of very greedy play out of Dark. Something that I should emphasize is that Dark, I would say that he is the strongest Zerg player currently in StarCraft Evolution. I'll say he's stronger than 3 Point, stronger than Shin. We don't, like, Solo doesn't play, Cyril doesn't play, Rainer doesn't play. Dark, like, he is the highest rated and the highest placing Zerg player in StarCraft Evolution, and he has a lot of very aggressive builds and also very greedy builds. As you can see, hatch before pool. So very greedy play here by Dark. He's very fond of cutting corners, and if you do not punish him, then he will get out of hand and he will get out of control. So it's going to be hatch, followed by a gas, followed by a very late spawning pool here by Dark. We saw that he has been quite fond of playing Ling Hydra, for example, Ling Hydra into eventually Lurker tech. We could even see skipped Ling speed into a lair, into Muta play. We'll keep an eye on Dark. We'll see where he takes us. Dark is going to have options. Likewise, Gerald setting up back at home. Does set up. Yo, shout out to the new assimilated model, as always. Ay. It's just so wrinkly. It's so veiny. Jesus. Every time. And there it is already. We have another expansion, so a third base on the way here for Dark before the spawning pool's even done. So again, just really greedy play here from our Zerg player. Likewise, Gerald's going for a standard opener himself into Stargate. And Dark should be okay here. Ideally, he does want his spores to finish up in time to defend against the Oracle. For those that are curious, as you can imagine, no queens, or I should say, queens are a very different unit in Brood War. So when it comes to early game anti-air, you can rush into early Hydras, and it is often seen to go into an early Hydra Den, but also spore crawlers are going to be required. There we go, Hydra Den is on the way for Dark. You may be curious, if you haven't seen StarCraft Evolution Hydra Den already, what's going on? Hydra tech is hatch tech in Brood War. It is not lair tech. And it's necessary just because you need anti-air to defend against something like, you know, early game Oracles, for example. It is going to be a Void Ray opener. Okay. Void Ray is on the way for Gerald. Likewise, Lings, they do slip into the natural, getting one probe so far, and getting a full scout. So nicely done here by Dark. Does slip in, does get eyes on the Stargate and on the Morphing and Void Ray, so Dark, he sees everything in the main. Hydra Den is done, and Hydra Speed is on the way. Now, because he knows that it's a Void Ray, Dark, he knows that he doesn't have to prioritize Hydra production, bearing in mind that Dark, he did skip Ling Speed. That's how he was able to afford the Hydra Den and avoid Hydras. He can skip, or he does skip Ling Speed, going straight into Hydras themselves. And they should be out in time to defend and deflect against the Void Ray. Meanwhile, Geralt taking his third. And going for a very early Twilight Council. Okay, so if this was a standard Protoss, and I would categorize Geralt in that, this screams Glaive Adepts. This screams Glaive Adepts here from Geralt. If we were casting Hero, I would say early Blink into a 3-base H-Gate Blink all in. So if this was Hero, I'd say Blink. This is anyone else, this should be Glaives. We'll keep an eye on Geralt. Show us what you got. Twilight Council done. Yep, Glaives are on the way. So mass Glaive Adept here, and Glaives can wreak havoc. It can be difficult here for the defending Zerg player to keep up with the shades, to keep up with the movement. Dark, he's gonna have to hold on, and we'll see if he can survive and defend against the Glaives of Geralt. Let's go. Now, Hydras are a bit of a different unit here. They're the same in name, but really only in name, and I guess in visual look. I mean, personally, I do like how the Hydras look here in Brood War. I mean, they look amazing. I appreciate their aesthetic. but Hydras, I believe they are not categorized as light units. So because of that, Glaive Adepts, they would annihilate and just blaze through SC2 Hydras real fast and real quick. And I would say this is almost, if this was in SC2, I would say this is almost a build order win for Gerald. But here, Brood War Hydras are built different, and we already have Dark moving in. He does not drone up the third base, he drones up the natural, massing up Ling Hydra, does move out, takes a stasis to the face. Oh my god! Stasis does go off. Dark, he's being delayed, but the Hydras are still rallying on. Yeah, Dark sending everything across the map. We'll see if Dark can break through. Essentially, 2-base all in. 2-base all in, no lair. No lair, no droning, no nothing, just Hydra. Just Hydras with Hydra speed, with +1 range on the way as well. Glaives does finish up here for Gerald, but the Hydras are already knocking down that front door. And again, Gerald, he never saw this coming. Trying to dive on top of the army. Hydras, they can still trade well against the Adepts. Adepts, they commit, but the Hydras, they overwhelm. Yeah, they will overwhelm the Adepts. The Adepts are going down one after the other. Gerald, he's used to playing against SC2 Hydras. He's like, what the hell? It's like, why did my Adepts do no damage? Mate, they're built different, Bappy. Oh my god. As the Hydras, they start step 4, they take down the Adepts. The base is going to be going down. Maybe not just the base, maybe just the entire army as well. As Hydras, they just rally in. They rally forward, they take down the Nexus. They start to step in, taking down the Adepts. And now Geralt, he's stuck on 2 bases. Ooh, as another Stalker falls. Another Stalker goes down. And the army just can't engage. I mean, they just cannot engage, not into this wall of Hydras. The gateways are going down, the Cybercore as well, and Dark is overwhelming. It shouldn't be a surprise that Dark is going for an all-in. I mean, we've seen a lot of aggression from him in general. It's but boys are being pulled. The final stand here for Gerald. But alas, the boys are all going down. The Hydras, they just prove to be too much. GG gets called, and Dark, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Dark does claim it. Again, we had, I would say, Dark, sorry, I would say Geralt just getting caught, getting blindsided. As a reminder, Geralt, he didn't scout. Winding it all the way back to the beginning, what did we see as the opener of Geralt? Void Ray. It was a Void Ray opener, not an Oracle opener. Because of that, he had limited scouting information. Likewise, the Adepts were having a hard time getting vision across the map. We did point out some of the tells here. There was no link speed, there was no lair, there was no drones at the third. Unfortunately, Geralt, he failed to recognize this. And not just that, but also before Geralt even took his third, remember, he had already decided he was being hyper aggressive with Glaive Adepts. And as you can see, Glaive Adepts would work wonders against SC2 Zerg if they were going Ling Hydra, but in Brood War, it's a little bit of a different story here. Hydras, they are like a cross between the Hydra and the Roach. Hydras are a lot more of a well-rounded unit, and against a Hydra all-in, that's where standard play would have worked a little bit better for Geralt. When I say standard play, I do mean getting into Blink Stalkers, of course scouting across the map and getting a more defensive position back at home at the natural base as well, not necessarily at the third, as the third was going to be a lost cause. But again, a lot of it just came down to the lack of information and lack of scouting from Geralt. He just didn't know what was happening, didn't know he was being all-in. Was just unaware of the all-in, and with that, GG well played. We are now getting into game number 2, or we're getting into, I should say, our second semifinals. Up next, we have Björn versus Young Jakob. Let's go.